Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our August 6, 2019 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics including Krypton. We're going to be talking the A Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover schedule, everything happening with Titans, comic books, and so much more. We'll also be turning to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you'd like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works, let me introduce you to my co-host, the Prince of Podcasts, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How's it going? And as you can tell, I am feeling a little better this week.
Yeah, you got your voice back.
Yeah. Well, I got my voice back. I don't know whose voice I was using last week. Now, since WGBS Live is all about Superman, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us live on YouTube. So around the halfway mark, and if we don't have too much on the docket and technology doesn't get in the way, we will try to start taking your calls. To do this, you're going to need Skype. Get on Skype, find Superman homepage, and message us that you'd like to be on the show. Now, there's a couple of important things here. One, message us. Don't just call us because that kind of throws things off. And two, if you do get on, as we had Doug on a couple weeks ago, please turn down all external speakers that you have. I mean, if you're listening with headphones, it shouldn't be a problem. But we are on a bit of a delay, and external speakers make that sound really weird. So other than that, that's pretty much the game.
Yeah, for sure. And if for those of you tuning in live via YouTube to watch tonight's show, we invite you to join in and chat with other guys and girls who are watching the show, and you can comment and ask us questions, and Michael and I will keep an eye on those YouTube comments throughout the show and react to them as necessary. And a huge thank you to our sponsor and patron, the man you just mentioned, Douglas Meacham. We appreciate your support. And if you want to support the Superman homepage, you can do so for as little as $1. Just head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. Well, Michael, I'm glad you got your voice back, and that you're sounding like you're a little bit better and perhaps not as run down as you have been in recent weeks.
Oh, I'm still completely run down. I just have a voice. The last bit of the busy season should be over this week. And of course, that leads me going into Dragon Con, which is going to be a bit of a gauntlet, as it always is. So, But no, I mean, it's just nice that I don't sound like I'm, constantly trying to go back into puberty. Like, sir.
Now, if anyone's wondering, I'm actually in Cadmus, Project Cadmus at the moment. This is the cloning room behind me. It's not that clear. I can't show you more of it because it is top secret. But that's where I'm currently situated today.
You got kind of a black T-shirt thing going on. It's almost like you're the evil Superboy from the Teen Titans show. Now you're the Superman from Earth 1.
So yeah, that's where I am today. All right, well, we have a little bit of movie news to talk about, and it's a little bit of a rehash of what we spoke about last week, and that is now that we have an official press release for the Death and Return of Superman complete film collection. It isn't just the two films like everyone was complaining about, just repackaged. You actually get a bonus disc that has the original Superman Doomsday animated film included in this Death and Return complete collection. That makes sense.
That would be a complete collection, wouldn't it? I mean, it's for people who haven't seen it. I mean, it's not like it's hard to get. I don't think. I think that's still a pretty easy movie to get your hands on if you really want it. But it's also good for people who haven't seen it to kind of compare and contrast, a more comic accurate version of the story compared to what they did in 2007 when they said this was the best we could do. And I'm trying not to be annoyed by that because they just proved that obviously you could do more. They just didn't want to. But then again, there could have been forces behind Warner Animation preventing them to do that, because Superman Doomsday was, if I'm correct, the first of that line of movies. So maybe they were banking on Death of Superman being popular to be good enough to kick it off, but weren't sure of it enough to do the entire story with. But I'm kind of excited that this is coming out because I buy Death of Superman stuff multiple times, and Warner Brothers was nice enough to give me another opportunity.
Well, this gift set will feature 45 minutes of new enhanced content, as well as the 2 animated films combined into one. So it's a 166-minute tale with never before seen footage, and as I mentioned, the separate disc of Superman Doomsday included, and in the gift set you get that steel figurine as well. So they're trying to be a little bit generous, not just repackaging old material, but there is more in there for you to be able to consider this as a purchase that might be necessary for your collection.
I mean, Mike Zumo in the chat is like, "Yay, I get a movie I already own," but I don't know. I appreciate the snark. I guess I can say that.
All right. Well, other than that, and that comes out October 1st, so you can pre-order yours through the Superman homepage now, so you can pre-order that when it's released. If you're living in the New York area, Rochester to be more exact, there is a screening of Superman 2 taking place later this month on August 24th at 9:30 p.m. The Little Theatre in Rochester will be screening the classic cinematic battle between Superman and the Kryptonian villains, and the tickets for general admission are priced as little as $9, and you can get them from diamondticketing.com.
As low as $9. That's
I don't know what's
an interesting.
What do tickets go for there in America?
If it's like a matinee, sometimes it's $9-10. It can be up to $14 if it's a special movie, or if it's a 3D movie. It can be even more expensive than that. So I'm just amused that 20 years ago you could go see 2 adults could go see a movie for $12, and now that pays for one person. So.
Oh, that was my turn of phrase. So it seems like it was a pretty good price to me. And I know everyone doesn't necessarily want to go out and watch a movie that they've already seen before, but if you haven't seen a film like this on the big screen, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to go out and see it with other people and watch it in all its cinematic glory? I mean, yeah, you can sit at home, as Tina is saying, in her pajamas, watching it on TV, but I don't think there's anything like watching a film on the big screen, getting that full impact with the sound quality and everything. I'd be jumping at the opportunity.
Yeah, having seen Superman the movie on the big screen now, it would be neat to see the other 2 that I haven't seen. The only Superman movie, the original Christopher Reeve films, that I saw in the theater was Superman 3. So it would be, and God, that woman changing into the robot at the end of the movie just scared the living crap out of me. But I missed out on Superman 4 because it was out of theaters so quickly, and I was just a little too young for Superman 2. So it'd be nice. You've been showing the graphic of the movie poster of Superman flying towards the Phantom Zone villains. That's not one they do much anymore.
Because of the Twin Towers there in the background.
The Twin Towers in the background, yeah. There's something about seeing Metropolis on fire. Then again, the way they destroy cities in movies these days, I guess it really doesn't matter.
Sorry, I was just going to say quickly, this was the first Superman film I saw on the big screen. My uncle took myself and a bunch of his nieces and nephews to see this in 81, 82 when it came out. I would have been all of like 11 years old, 10, 11 years old. And as I might have mentioned in a previous show, when they did the Richard Donner screening out here in Australia with Sarah Douglas and Mark McClure as special guests, I took him to go see it. And that was like a nice kind of, full circle coming back to the, showing the man the movie that showed me the original version of it in theaters so many years before. Sorry, you were saying about in the comments.
In the comments, Mike Zumo asks if my Death of Superman stuff has its own room. No, because then I would have to charge it rent. It doesn't take up that much space. Part of a room maybe, but no, it's always interesting to hear, like people's first experiences with these types of things. I mean, we know over the years you told the story that you got back into the comics in the 90s because of the Roger Stern novel. But just imagine going back in time and telling 11-year-old Steve, that one day he's going to run a Superman homepage, and having 11-year-old Steve look back at you and go, "What is a homepage?
What's the internet?"
Yeah.
Yes, people, there was a time when the internet did not exist, and Michael and I are old enough to be in that era.
Yeah, I did not get online until 1998, and that was still late to the game for some people, and now it's just ubiquitous. But I remember getting AOL and hopping on and finding that there were actually Superman websites out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, dial-up days. Geez, they were fun.
No, they weren't. They were slow.
Listening to that screechy modem sound. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, get off my lawn. Let's move on. We turn our attention to the TV side of things now, and the latest episode of Krypton was titled Mercy, obviously referencing the Black Mercy. Have you caught up? No. Okay. Well, yeah. Spoiler alert. Somebody comes back that we thought wasn't going to come back, and it was a great big twist. Phenomenal episode. I didn't see this one coming. Neither did our reviewer, Michael J. Petty, who gave it a 4 out of 5, saying in his review, I don't have much else to say other than well played to the Krypton writers for the unexpected twist. And I've got to say, they're really ramping up for the last 2 episodes of this second season. So much so that Cameron Cuff on Twitter wrote that this episode 9, which is about to air in the next day or so, is the craziest of the season, in his words, or something along those lines.
Sounds like it's been a pretty crazy season too, so that's a pretty high bar.
I agreed. It's massive.
So that's nice. It's all on the DVR. It's just waiting for me to have free time again, which just hasn't happened recently.
And the special effects for the Black Mercy were pretty impressive. Like, that thing looked like it was right up there in the character's face and right up into the nose and down the throat, and it was just like the way it attached itself. It looked, and then when she pulls it out and throws it aside, it was just like, wow, I wouldn't have wanted to be part of that. That was just, next level.
Oh, I guess you really have to, you can't just have it stuck on the person's chest and you pull it off. Now you have to kind of up the game. They did that in the animated version of For the Man Who Has Everything, and then the Supergirl thing. So I guess, it's Cable, so it's going to be a little bit of a body horror in there. Yeah,
which kind of makes sense. If it's something that's going to be taking over your mind, then it necessarily needs to go somewhere towards the brain area.
Yeah, it's. I guess the next version is just going to go right into their skull, up the nasal passage and stuff like that.
It very much kind of reminded me of the face hugger in Aliens. That the way it was just the visceral trying to get it out of you kind of thing was the attachment was quite graphic, but quite effective.
That sounds really cool, and I love that they have just, instead of trying to make it more of a standard operatic Shakespearean sci-fi thing, that they just no, we're just gonna go crazy. We're just gonna do weird things all season long. So, and I guess that's how you grab viewers too, because what we assumed it was gonna be was basically your standard sci-fi series, though with a Superman twist. And it seems now that they're trying to lean into the skid a little bit on that.
There were a couple of nice kind of Easter eggs, if you like, in this. The name Jor-El comes about, and we hear the John Williams Superman theme, the Krypton theme, if you like, in this episode as well. And just really cool the way they kind of bring it around into the Superman world.
That is never going to go away.
No.
Why
would it?
It's amazing that the Williams music has proved so timeless when you're discussing. You can pretty much put it to any version of Superman, and it kind of works. And I guess that extends to the Krypton as well. That you created such a kind of, by going in such a classical direction and not having like a 70s synth score.
Yeah.
It ages a lot better.
Yes. So that was the episode 8 of season 2 of Krypton. And now we look ahead to episode 9, the penultimate episode of this season, which is titled Blood Moon. And we have the promo for that right now. Just let me bring it up for you. For the airing August 7th, Wednesday, August 7th there in the US, Thursday, August 8th here in Australia. Blood Moon. Here is the promo for this particular episode.
Neil.
The only person who's ever stopped Doomsday doesn't exist anymore.
General, Doomsday is in position.
Kill them all.
So there you have it. There is the promo trailer for Blood Moon. As I said, the second last episode of season 2 of Krypton. Looking forward to that, where Seg reunites with Val and the Rebels as General Zod mounts his final attack on the Rebellion.
Oh, well, I guess even Doomsday kneels before Zod.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is that whole thing with Zod and Doomsday and how that's coming out. Very much something that you'll enjoy once I think you get into these episodes on your DVR. Bloody fine time, Michael. Hurry up.
I'm trying. It's just weird.
Work's not that important. Come on.
Just quit your job. Just
That's right.
sit at home watching Superman all day. So
that's why we pay you the big
talk
bucks
about on the internet. The what?
That's why we pay you the big bucks here at the Superman homepage.
Oh yeah, the exorbitant salary that I draw from the Superman homepage.
Yeah.
Tens
of millions. Tens of dollars. Okay. Let's push on. We can discuss your contract later on. Okay. First official footage of Superboy and Krypto was released online today for the Titans Season 2 live action series on the DC Universe digital streaming service. We didn't get much of Superboy. I took a snapshot, a freeze frame of it. We saw more of Krypto actually, but let me play you this promo that they released for this first look at Season 2 of Titans on YouTube today.
I see you made the news with your old Titans friends. Some new ones too.
Titans are back, bitches!
There are no sidekicks in Titans. We're partners. We have each other's back. This is the new Titans.
Krypto.
So what are we? Titans 2.0?
Titans Next Generation. No way.
What?
Deathstroke.
So there you have it. Titans Season 2, a bit of a teaser there. And we saw, as I said, Joshua Orpin as Superboy, Connor Kent, and Krypto, the Superdog. And at the end there, that was Deathstroke.
You know, I absolutely love that, and I realize things are still complicated with how DC Entertainment relates to Warner Brothers, and that, you know, even though everything's owned by the same company and it's being produced directly by the company, that they don't have rights to certain characters, and that they want to keep like certain bigger characters proprietary. And I also like in recent years, they're like, nah, you want Superman on Supergirl? How about this season we do 2 Supermen on Supergirl? And no Bruce Wayne the first season? Why not? Let's get Bruce Wayne come into the second season. So, it creates the question, one, can it dilute the brand by having so many different versions out there? Or two, are we at such a point in the comics world where sales of comics are still not the greatest, and there are so many superhero shows and movies competing for people's attention? Is this the point to throw everything at the wall and just see what sticks?
It's interesting. I don't know where they're going with this. It just seems to be just, let's just do everything we can, throw everything there, and I guess as fans, it's not much that we can complain about, other than the fact that what the ramifications of having so much at the moment might do for the next 5-10 years, where we might end up going like the cowboy movies of the 50s and 60s, where after a while no one wants to see them anymore, that they've had their time.
Yeah, and then you have the people. Sorry, I just noticed that Mike Zumo asked in the chat, why is Jason Todd not dead yet? To be fair, he was one of the better things about the first season. I loved that episode. So the fact that now he's going to be kind of a part of things is kind of interesting. But it's just, I honestly think, I don't, because people have been predicting the saturation point of superhero movies for, the last like 5 or 6 years now. I think the problem is that there is now this, if you're really in the fandoms, it's just like you have to watch everything, and I just don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
Because I do want to do other things besides sit down and watch superhero shows when I'm not working. I have a wife. I like spending time with her. And we could sit there and watch the shows together, but that's not, there are other things to do, basically.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Life does get in the way. But I wasn't big on Titans like you. Had my issues even before I'd seen it, thinking, I don't know about this. Not really in my wheelhouse. But then, similar to you, I had a similar reaction that once I did watch it, the violence was probably over the top, but I quite was taken in by the characters and their stories, and I'm looking forward to season 2 now, even more so because of the fact that Superboy and Krypto will be involved, and the fact now that I know and am interested in these other characters from season 1 just kind of adds to it's like a bonus.
Yeah, and I like that it's getting a second season. The only problem I have with this trailer, is it's a great trailer, is the way they left the season off. It's just like, okay, do I need to even bother watching the first episode? Obviously, they get out of everything. Obviously, something happens to Raven. So.
Yeah, I guess that kind of, it's a bit of a spoiler in that that there isn't that, what's going to happen kind of thing, because apparently they all just come out of it fine in the long run anyway. So, kind of does that a little bit of a disservice.
So Tina in the chat says that she would have preferred a new look for Superboy. When your executive producer is Jeff Johns, and that was the Superboy from his run on Titans, you ain't getting anything but that Superboy.
Indeed. And we don't even know what his storyline will be at this point in time, and how that's going to progress, and how he'll identify with the S to start with. So we just have to wait and see what his origin story is in this run of the TV live action series. So looking forward to seeing. And Krypto, I mean, have we seen a live action Krypto?
I don't think we've seen a live action Krypto. We've seen an animated Krypto.
Yes.
In several different iterations of an animated Krypto.
Yeah.
And they hedged their bets in Smallville by having Shelby.
Yeah.
So
this is the first time we've seen a live action dog as a super dog.
I think before now dogs. I don't know. You couldn't have had Krypto on Lois and Clark. I'm surprised they didn't have Krypto in like the 50s series, considering how popular Lassie was. It seems kind of like a natural. It's like, hey, even Superman has a dog. or on the Superboy show. Like I said, Smallville, hedged their bets by not having a Krypto, but having a superpowered dog for an episode. So yeah, I think this will be the first live action Krypto. I don't know. I am really nervous about what they're going to do with that character. I don't want to see Krypto maul somebody. Let me put it to you that way.
Well, they were pretty kind of timid on Beast Boy, mauling anybody, and then when he finally did, it wasn't that severe. I mean, it didn't look that bloodthirsty compared to what Robin's done to some people.
It's kind of like when Loeb brought Krypto into the Superman books, and one of the first things he does is go for Mongol's throat. It's just like I know it's okay. So I've got 3 dogs in the house. I know exactly what dogs are capable of, and that as adorable and as loving as they can be, they can also be savage monsters. I just don't know if I want to think of Krypto in those terms. Like, it's just like you want to think Krypto is just he's Superboy's dog. I mean, whether that's young Superman or Connor Kent. So I guess it's cool that he's coming, but it seems like Krypto is just going to be another Cadmus experiment.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from there. That might taint the character a little bit, but we'll wait and see. Looking forward to season 2 of Teen Titans, which will be available, will premiere on the DC Universe digital streaming service there in the US on September 6th. So a month away. Wow. That's coming around quickly.
Yeah, I'm actually this entire year has just blown by. So I'll blink and the show will be premiering.
So also on the TV side of things, the CW announced the schedule for the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, and Supergirl will be kicking off the 5-part crossover with a episode 1, part 1 if you like, taking place on Sunday, December 8th, so a few months away now. Batwoman will be part 2, Monday, December 9th at 8 p.m. Part 3 will be The Flash on Tuesday, December 10th and at 8 p.m. And then we will wait a couple of weeks or a month until part 4 as a cliffhanger, obviously, the mid-season crossover takes place. And then we have Arrow taking up part 4 in January 14th at 8 p.m. with the final and 5th part, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, taking place on Tuesday, January 14th as well at 9 p.m. So part 4 and 5 will air on the same night, one after the other on the CW on January 14th. But the other episodes will be 8th, 9th and 10th of December. Supergirl, Batwoman and The Flash all at 8 p.m. night after night. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be one heck of a cliffhanger, I'm assuming. I'm guessing that the other shows will kind of wrap up their mid-seasons before that, and this will be just kind of its own thing.
Yeah, that sounds likely.
Or maybe they'll all have like little hints of the Crisis in the first season mixed in with the ongoing story. I assume Arrow, this is the entire point of the season, is this Crisis. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. If they have any guts, they'll like on the 3rd part when it goes to the cliffhanger for a month, they'll just unmake reality and everyone dies, and then you just have to wait.
Well, an interesting one was the revelation that Kevin Conroy, the actor who's synonymous as the voice of Batman in animated form, will actually be appearing for the first time as a live-action Bruce Wayne, an old Bruce Wayne, in the crossover. That's got to be pretty exciting for him.
I think it's exciting for everybody, in all honesty. They are really just pulling out all the stops for this. The fan service of this thing is just like, I don't know, like, how do you do another crossover after this?
Yeah, we said that last year.
Yeah. Well, no, because last year they hinted at Crisis, so they
True.
knew they were going to do something. The year before, it was just like, how do you top this? And they keep surprising me. But literally, once you bring in Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman and Kevin Conroy as, old Bruce Wayne, and I think Burt Ward's going to be in it. Linda Carter, probably not. Or at least that version of Wonder Woman, probably not. It's just, and some other people that aren't going to be in it, despite the fact that websites keep freaking talking about it. Which, even Michael Rosenbaum's like, this is news to me.
Yeah. So people, let's just put those down now. Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum are not involved in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover as reported by WeGotThisCovered.com. Between them and Cosmic Book News, please don't listen to any of the rumors started by them. If it's not reported by some of the major places like Variety, like Comic Book Resources, like the Hollywood Reporter, these kind of places, even if someone does get the scoop first, if those kind of places aren't reporting on it even after the fact, then it's likely not true 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, and for the love of God, don't share those articles either, because you're basically giving them revenue.
Yeah.
You're encouraging them to continue doing that, because people, they have the most clickbaity headlines, and they're just not true. That's the thing. I have never clicked on an article, so I can't speak to how they're written. I am assuming they either flat out lie to you, or everything is an unnamed source.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then they can kind of get out of it, because their unnamed source could be the guy sitting in the cubicle next to them.
And they usually put this unnamed source was the same person who told us about this and this that we reported on earlier. And remember, in this movie we said this was going to happen, and it was proven true. So that's the kind of way they make out like this source is someone legit and someone who's believable, but then they'll end up coming out and saying, oh, our source was incorrect and we've told that source to go take a hike.
Okay, Rob Paul in the comments wins tonight by saying, so no Kirk Allen in the crossover? Too bad. Yeah, I don't no, actually there is a way they could kind of do that. I don't think they're going to. But in the 50th anniversary Doctor Who special, they had a shot at the end where they had all of the doctors standing next to each other, right. And some of them have passed away, so they just kind of computer generated them.
Okay.
So there's a way to
Definitely.
Have all these different versions. I just don't think they're going to do that, because again, everything is so compartmentalized with Warner Brothers that I just don't think they have the rights to do that.
Well, I think the Kirk Allen serials might actually be in the public domain now. I could be mistaken on that. I know the Fleischer cartoons are, but I mean things like bringing back people's likenesses. There's estates and things you have to deal with. You can't just go and do that.
I'm wondering if the serials are still Warner Brothers because they released them on home video back in '88.
You might be right on
so
that.
So that was their way to kind of get their clutches back onto it.
Yeah. And the other thing that was revealed was that Black Lightning, which is another of the CW shows, while not involved in the crossover as having an episode, will still be included in the crossover. So will make an appearance.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, they've kept him off on his own little world, which is great because I think it works better for that character. I like the fact that they put Supergirl into the same, multiverse as Flash and Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had decided not to do that at all, I would have been fine with it. Just having Supergirl exist on her own and introduce heroes of that world. Whereas with Black Lightning, it is such the special effects are good, but it seems like the stories are so centered on family and, that city, and that's what they protect, that throwing them into a larger world kind of takes away from that. But having him be part of this, because realities are bleeding together, probably, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's an extra check for whoever from Black Lightning's going to show up on that show, so that's good.
For sure. Now, the other bit of casting news for Supergirl, which is really the only other thing we have on the TV front for the CW shows, is the fact that Jennifer Chion Garcia has been cast in the role of Midnight for season 5 of Supergirl. Now, the character is described as the physical manifestation of darkness, a murderous villain released from an otherworldly prison to enact revenge against the person who put her there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's no character in the DC comic books called Midnight that matches this description.
I'm sure we could probably pull out like a Silver Age story, the one-off type thing, scraping it. I mean, it just seems like they are just bound and determined to just introduce as many new characters in these seasons as humanly possible. But no, I'm glad they're not playing this up as the epic, legendary DC character Midnight. But they're usually good at having one-off villains like this. So it's like I don't hate it, but it's not like I'm jumping for joy because it's not a character that really has any kind of cachet yet. So
now, there are characters who are the physical manifestation of darkness. I mean, what's her name in Titans kind of comes to mind as being that type of character that has that, that ability. And it's not Dr. Midnight, which is another character. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with for this character. Garcia's previous work, she's been seen in movies like Minority Report, shows like Arrow, Supernatural, The 100. So she's a familiar face to many people, and looking forward to seeing what they do with this new character.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're past the halfway mark for tonight's program. Take a quick break, play some messages, and then we're going to come back on the flip side to talk about Young Justice Outsiders and what the latest or recent episode of that animated series did for the relationship between Superman and Superboy. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the battle of the Superpowers Collection. Can it be the Supermobile on the attack, the Lexor 7 armed with kryptonite? Will the Supermobile repel those deadly rays?
You bet. Ready for battle. Activate RAM.
New from Kenner's Superpowers Collection. Vehicles and figures with power action, each sold separately. Flying lessons for Penguin, fish bait for Luther. Can the Supermobile defeat the Lexor 7? You decide.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live, where, as Michael said, you can be part of our show if we have time by using Skype, sending us a message, searching for Superman Homepage, and saying you'd like to be part of our show. But we move on with Young Justice Outsiders. Now, within the continuity of the Young Justice animated series, Superboy is a clone of Superman. He's also a clone of Lex Luthor. The two combined DNA created Superboy in this lab here of Cadmus. And Superman's reaction to Superboy over the first couple of seasons was very much a standoffish, awkward, not really accepting approach, and not many people were kind of like, geez, Superman's a bit of a, taking his time coming around. He's not really acting within character. I was going to say something else, but so now in this new season, apparently after Connor has spent some time on the Kent farm and got to go know Jonathan and Martha Kent pretty well, and with the help of Wonder Woman, Superman's come to the realization that he can be a positive influence on Superboy's life, helping him to choose a different path than what maybe Lex had planned for him. And in the most recent episode titled Quiet Conversations, the two kind of formed a bond, a brotherly bond, if you like, where they acknowledge themselves as kind of siblings, and Superman kind of looks at him as his little brother, and so much so that they've come together that Superboy has asked Superman to be his best man in his wedding coming up, where he'll be marrying Miss Martian.
That's awesome. When they introduced Connor, or just Superboy, he was just Superboy at first. Yeah. Connor didn't come along until the 2000s, really. But when they first introduced him, Superman and his relationship they weren't like close, but it always seemed like when they were together, Superman had like a big brother attitude towards him just to begin with. So if that's what they're going for, and then there was that really great issue in the early 2000s. Was that before or after? I think that was before Our Worlds at War, where Connor just shows up at the Kent farm and Superman's all kind of weird about the whole thing. But it was always great when he was just, their relationship was that kind of big brother, little brother type thing. So I'm glad that they brought that into the show.
And, there's some kind of remarks, but, isn't he more like his father? Isn't he more like an offspring? But no, when you're a clone, you are on the same, if you like, the same generation. You're of the same, DNA. So it's not like you are an offspring of that character. You are on the same line. He's just a younger version of the same DNA that's melded with Lex Luthor's DNA to enable that kind of process to take place. Siblings makes more sense.
Yeah, and there was at one point in the comics this whole weird thing with Superman and cloning, because Krypton had its own clone wars at one point, a civil war that was that kind of sparked because of the practice that the ancient Kryptonians had of having 3 clones of any given person. So if they needed a heart or new heart or a new kidney or whatever, they would get it directly from the source. So Superboy was always kind of a weird thing for Superman because of that. But that doesn't even matter anymore because that continuity is long gone.
All right, so that's an interesting dynamic that they've created there. I'm glad to see that relationship has kind of grown, even though I haven't seen these episodes of Young Justice Outsiders. I'm hoping one day soon they are released here in Australia, if not, Blu-ray collection once this season is concluded. But new episodes of Young Justice Outsiders are available every Tuesday on the DC Universe digital streaming service there in the US. Now, changing tact to the comic book or reading experience of being a Superman fan. This past week, we mentioned last week that it felt like a skip week in that there were no main Superman comic books available to read, to purchase this past week. But there was the graphic novel release of Dear Justice League, the graphic novel that is mainly aimed towards a younger set of readers. I'll take this off while we're talking, put that back on. There it is. Dear Justice League, written by Michael Northrop, illustrated by Gustavo Duarte, and I submitted my review, published my review on the Superman homepage, having read this and received a copy of it, and I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5, saying that initially when I heard it was announced, it was a cute idea, but now having read it, it's become something that I would highly recommend to DC's fans of all ages. I know it's aimed mostly at a younger set, but I think older fans will thoroughly enjoy it as well.
I like the fact that they're kind of gearing certain stories towards a younger audience. I think we're not completely out of the blood and guts and violence and terrible things happening to the characters of DC Comics. But at the same time, with the different animated versions that have come out in the past couple of years, especially like Teen Titans Go, I don't know if Justice League Action has had any kind of lasting impact. I know people like it, I just don't know if it created the kind of lasting impression that Teen Titans has obviously had. So having something where you have these characters that are usually treated very adult, kind of aimed towards a kid's audience, will hopefully get them into it. Maybe eventually, as they grow up, they want to read the comics. But John, in the Flash, I keep calling it Flash chat, mentioned that Dan DiDio made a statement at San Diego that the reprints that they're putting out are selling better than the new comics, and that's a failure on them to make the new comics appealing. I won't go so far as to say, well, that just proves that the old stuff's better, but I think it's that you have to do something like that. Not that exactly, but something like that to maybe grab people and get them to buy the new books.
Yeah. So it is an interesting read. It's you can do it in one sitting. It's not like it's a massive thick book or anything like that. I'd recommend getting out there and grabbing a copy. It is available now in bookstores as well as your comic book store. Comic book stores came out last Wednesday, but the book is now available as of today in your local bookstore as well. And I think we're trying to line up an audio interview with Michael Northrop, the author. So we're hoping maybe we can air some of that here next week on WGBS TV Live. If not, it will be published on the Superman homepage as a separate interview that I think fans will get a lot out of. So looking forward to having a chat with him later this week.
Awesome. Always good to have another interview like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this week, not being a skip week, we have some comic books to look forward to on this comic book front, and this is what is out this week. We have Deceased number 4 available this week, and that is available in a variant Joker cover as well as a horror movie inspired cover. There's Justice League number 29 out this week, Slaves of Starro, and that is also available in this really cool variant cover featuring the Trinity, Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman. Also out this week, Lois Lane number 2, the second of this 12-issue maxi series, and that's also available in this variant cover that kind of looks a little bit like Margot Kidder, but Lois dodging bullets there. And then also out this week is the second reprinting of the Walmart comic books, Superman Up in the Sky number 2, with Superman in the boxing ring on that cover there. And also out this week is Justice, the deluxe edition hardcover by Jim Kruger, Alex Ross and Doug Braithwaite. That is out this week. So they're the comic books Superman fans can look forward to from their comic book stores this week, or Comixology.com.
It looks like there is a lot to get this week.
Yeah. Well, you go 1 week without anything, and then all of a sudden they're throwing a lot in your pool pile.
Feast or famine.
That's right. So I guess the top of the list there is, for Superman fans, is Lois Lane number 2.
Yeah, I would assume that. I don't know how well the Superman Up in the Sky reprints are doing. I'm glad they're doing it, but I don't know how well they're doing.
So that's the comic books out this week. Now on the social media front, there was an interesting one this week. I don't know if you saw this, but an official Superman Twitter account became active this week. The account was set up back in January, but for the first time as of August 6th, so yesterday, today, if depending on where you are, Superman announced himself with a typo in his "Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it me," instead of "it's me." And then a few hours later, an image with Superman saying, "Heard this place was in need of some truth and justice." Superman's got a Twitter account.
Okay, well, I mean, everyone else does. Why not Superman? I mean, what's Batman's going to be like? Just darkness, no parents, continued darkness, as the song goes. So, I don't know. It kind of makes you wonder what these people would be like on Twitter.
Yeah. So, I don't know why it just suddenly became active this week. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind creating the account back in January and then only this week. It's not like it was Superman Day or anything like that to suddenly become active. But it quickly was followed by thousands of people. And looking at the account, Superman himself follows many of his comic book writers and artists. As you do.
But does he follow the Superman homepage?
Not as yet. We'll make that happen.
Okay, I was about to say, if he's gonna, I don't know. It just feels weird if the Superman does not follow the Superman homepage. The longest running Superman site on the internet.
We'll make it happen.
You were there before Twitter.
Yeah, so. True. That is true. So if you are a Twitter follower and you haven't yet followed that account, it's at DC Superman. So that's the account for Superman's official. And it's official because it's got the blue tick, so it shows that it's authenticated by Twitter.
Oh, wow. Verified Superman on Twitter. Very good.
There you go.
Hope he doesn't share anything racist. That would just be bad.
That would not be good at all. Now, on the collecting front, Prime One Studio announced the pre-order availability for this new Superman Black version statue, which is a very limited edition. It's limited to only 750 total pieces. It will cost around $999 US, so $1,000 US, and it will be available in various little knickknacks that you can take off the beard, or there's a non-beard version, there's a mullet, long-haired version, whatever you want to call it. There's a short-haired version. It comes on a rotating base that allows for 360-degree rotation. Stands almost 42 inches high, and looks pretty impressive.
That dude is cut. I mean, seriously, I cannot imagine the amount of time at the gym that action figure. No, it's a very impressive figure or statue. I like the fact that it has different, hairstyles, and you can give him a beard. The one thing I am impressed with, there is no angry red eyes of anger head.
For a change.
I'm actually really surprised by that. But what's cool about it, though, is that he could be like Superman Returned from the Dead Superman, or the Lois and Clark Superman.
Yeah.
From the Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not. I can't plunk down $200 for a statue right now.
$999.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. $999. That's just wow.
Yeah, it is.
Why is Batman Hush written in the upper right-hand corner of that?
I think it's a remodeling or a repainting of the figurine that was or the statue that was created for Batman Hush. They've just reconfigured it to be a black version.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's the same model.
I can see from the positioning too that's kind of what they're going for, because it looks like he could be kind of hovering or just standing.
Yeah. And this will be, it's available for pre-order now, but it will projected to be released July to November sometime next year. So you've got time to save up.
It's probably still not going to happen. I mean, if they want to send me, again, as always, if you want to send me one, Prime Studios, I will talk about it at length. Yeah, it's just not going to be coming out of my own budget.
Yeah. Well, something that may be more along the lines of your budget, Michael, are these note cards, DC note cards, vintage DC Comics note card packs, available at FedEx office stores around the US, and hopefully are released elsewhere as well. They're from Asgard Press, and they've taken some of the most popular vintage DC comic book covers to produce 2 sets of 4 note cards with envelopes. You know, they're those things that you kind of wrote on, folded and put them in, and you posted them in the snail mail, if anyone's too young to remember what they are. And there's a version of, there's a couple of Superman ones there. There's the Action Comics #1 cover, and there's also an Action Comics 93 cover, a Christmas cover there, and you can find them, as I said, at your FedEx office store.
I'll have to check that out. There's one right down the street from where I work. So Asgard Press does very good work. I have liked
quality
just
products.
Yeah, they do not skimp on quality. A lot of their images are samey because I think they only have access to a certain number of covers.
Yeah.
But they continue to do very good calendars, and I like the fact that, as you can kind of see in the background of my wall, they keep doing Superman calendars, which Superman calendars are not as plentiful as they used to be. It used to be you'd have like a Smallville one and like a regular Superman comic one, and then for years there was nothing. So it's nice, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Asgard ones, they also have perforations so that after the year is done, you can hang them up like posters. So it's
that's cool.
You get a lot out of it, is what I'm saying.
Very good. And just before we wrap up tonight's episode, don't forget that the Super Trivia Quiz has been updated for another month. And the 3 questions we're asking you this time around are: who played the role of Lara in the 2013 film Man of Steel? What is the name of Krypton's moon destroyed by Jaxa in most comic book continuities? And according to the TV series Krypton, what was Jor-El's original name? So if you think you know the answers to those 3 questions, head to the Superman homepage website. Under the favourites menu, you will find the Super Trivia Quiz. But that's all we have time for tonight's show. Before we do sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode of WGBS TV Live. Once again, thanks to all those in the YouTube chat room, comments there, participating in the show. We appreciate your involvement. And a big thank you to you, my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
Now, the complete 1-hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it back or perhaps miss part of the show. But Michael and I will be back next week on Tuesday, August 13th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.